Good morning. Vach. Just one kiss. That's all it would take for you to have Chaim Nitzchim, one kiss of a Sefer Torah. The Rebbe Rashab teaches us that it's more precious, more than palaces and royal chambers in B'ni Chai Mezaini, Ravichi, in all areas of your success story, your family, your sustenance, your family, your health, and your sustenance in large measure. With the Rebbe Rashab, the fifth Lubavitch Rebbe describes as Armeines ve'cholis, palaces and royal chambers. In your success story, if you were the king tut of the universe, of whatever you think is successful, some cultures say it's being a big gangster. That's what's really where the merit lies. That's the worthy life. What does the Rebbe Rashab describe as a worthy life? One kiss of a Sefer Torah, a Torah scroll. You go up to the Torah scroll and kiss it. A single kiss. Neshika achas b'Sefer Torah. In the Sefer Torah. On the same. One kiss. I like the phrase one kiss because it resonates with what Rambam says, that you have the power to tip the scales of justice in the universe. All you have to do is mitzvah achas, ma'aseh echad, dibur echad, machshava achas. Each time he tells you one. One mitzvah, one good deed, one nice thing that you could say about another person, or one nice thought. How about think good about somebody else? He just weighed the favor towards, he weighed the judgment in the world to the side of favor for the entire world. And what else did he do? That's not enough. He caused for him v'lahem, and to the entire world, Shua v'tzala, salvation. And what does that salvation mean? So this is the schus in one mitzvah. I love how it just repeats mitzvah achas. Why does it say maisim taivim, diburim taivim? Why do you say achas every time? Why does the Rebbe Rashab use that lashon? Neshika achas, one kiss. Because it's all about the unity. Whether you're doing a mitzvah, you're walking an old lady across the street, you're kissing a Sefer Torah, you're thinking nice about something. You just brought the oneness of God into your world. That's the echad. Echad, we say. When we say Shema, we say God's oneness. It's all about oneness. What does it mean? He's one, echad, the aleph, and the ches, and the seven firmaments, and the earth. So right here in your whatever car you're sitting in right now, because we all are sitting in cars. Good morning. And the four directions of the world. So you have all the dimensions. That's the echad of Hashem. That despite the fact that there's so many dimensions, there's so many worlds, there are so many different worlds, right? Brothers in arms. Many different worlds, but they all reflect the same integrity of purpose. The purpose of the mitzvahs, for example. Okay, so this is what Shema is all about when we say Shema. And there's something fascinating I wanted to get to about Shema. Why do we say the third paragraph of Shema at night? It's about tzitzis. Why do you say that at night? It's not a time for tzitzis. You don't have to wear tzitzis at night. It's because you don't see them. It's all about seeing them. Seeing is believing. You believe in God when you see your commitment to Him expressed by wearing tzitzis. But why would you say that at night? It's not, so just say the two paragraphs of Shema. Make it easier on yourself. I mean, you're probably passing out by the time you say Kriya Shema Lamita. At night, before you go to sleep, say Shema again. What is that, third time a day? We say it twice a day, but we also say it before we go to bed. Because it's like giving soul accounting. When people died, they say Shema before, if they tried to. Rabbi Akiva tried to. The word echad. You recognize the unity of Shem even in the darkness of the world. In the darkness of the world, when you think you don't have to talk about Yetzias Mitzrayim in it. Okay, well, that's the answer, actually. You don't talk about the tzitzis you'd think. But the paragraph there includes the concept of going out of Egypt, which becomes the model, the narrative model, the literary model for your purpose in life is to be redeemed. What does redeemed mean? It's like, I'm going to give coupons to get 10 cents off my next chicken salad. Good morning. That's what the word redeemed means. We don't have the concept. To us, that's like gospel stuff. I was redeemed. I saw all of that. Like, so we lose touch with what it means. So I'm here to share with you what I think it means. But we'll get there, maybe by the end of the class. So if you do one kiss to the Sefer Torah, one good deed, what have you done? You brought yourself schus, okay? What is the purpose of schus, says the Rebbe? She'az, okay, it brought salvation. What does salvation mean? So it's a word that we don't understand. She'az yu l'chol echad echad Yisrael. Then every single Jew will have chayim nitzchim kepshuton. Literally eternal life. So the health, the atrophy of health from the time you're born, you sort of lose your cuteness, right? Doesn't it all just fade in time? It's going to go the other direction. So the older you get, probably, because you're wiser and you're closer to a further stage of getting close to God in the ultimate, the seventh millennium. Chaim Nitzchi means dim sum, that you are going to shine brighter than the sun. So ultimately, you're going to have not atrophy, or if I'm pronouncing that right, atrophy, that your body's going to deteriorate, God forbid, but you're going to get more and more healthy until dim sum, until you shine brighter than the sun. And you dim it because of your heel, the darkest part of you, the least life filled with, part of your body that's filled with life. Isn't that the one you have to scrape away half of it? So every Jew is going to have eternal life, heichel, beginning, Mibnei Yisrael Shebedereinu Zeh, says the Rebbe, with the Jewish people of this generation. And then he says, with no interruption, you don't have to die. I've tried to explain what that means in the context of the Baal Shem Tov saying he wants to go to the earth. That's his destiny. He wants to elevate even from there, that loneliness. He wants to elevate even death itself. Why would we want? But the Rebbe says you can achieve that through being El Afar Tashuv. You will return to dust. Be dust in terms of being humble. How about that? There's going to be delicacies as common as dust. It's a little bit a different interpretation of dust here. But what does it mean common like dust? Just the way that dust is insignificant. You're going to review the delicacies of the world, the palaces of the world, and suffice with one kiss of a Sefer Torah. In other words, the mindset of oneness when you're doing anything, even kissing a Sefer Torah, is something that's completely superficial expression of your love for God. But no, if it comes from the right place, if it's about the unity with God, the intimacy of God, the connecting with God, then that one kiss of a Sefer Torah is the schus which will bring you, I'm just proving you sources, I'm just reading you what it says. It will bring you eternal life. Why? Based on the Rambam, based on the Rebbe, and Tafshin and Beis, that he says that will bring, when the Rambam says it will bring you salvation, it means eternal life. Because the Rebbe is a radical, and he's describing a radical future, not like the one you read in a newspaper that the most radical thing they could think about is the whole world blowing up, or like Nazis, chas v'shalom, taking over the world again. That becomes the most compelling stories of our times, the political story usually. But it's very ironic since we live in a time of more peace than ever in history, perhaps, and the most plenty, which is really the same thing. If a person's, God forbid, in a state of poverty or health, needing for health, that's like a war of its own, right? Oh, so that brings me to my poem. Okay, I'm going to self-indulge for a second. Okay, so we said the Rabbi Shab's thing. I'm just going to change the page there. So that brings the schus. What's the schus? It's to turn the whole favor to the whole scales of the world to the side of favor and bring salvation. What's salvation? Chaim nitzkim. In other words, you're going to reverse the atrophy of old age or whatever, just losing touch of your inspiration, however you want to interpret this. And therefore have such health that ultimately you're going to do dim sum. Okay, now, sorry about striking the valley core, dawnlight. Okay, you are going to be stricken. Okay, it says, I'm going to get off topic, but it says that the Rebbe, Rabbeinu HaKadosh, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, he suffered illnesses. Rabbi Akiva, Gershon, Ben, Rachel, Bas Yahav, Refuah Shlema take of me on Mamish. Exclusive whatever we're doing. So if Mashiach's from among those who are alive, who is it? Vaday Hainu Rabbeinu HaKadosh. They had no doubt who Mashiach would be. It's not a matter of doubt. These things are not something to spend our time on. There's a Hutzlei Shel Mashiach. Who is Mashiach? The identity of Mashiach. It's obvious. Duh. It's Rabbeinu HaKadosh, Rebbe, the Rebbe. The Sefer, why? Because he suffered. Okay, this is where there is slight resonance with other religions. What is our Messiah, messianic figure? They probably stole this idea. Because he suffers. And he was totally pious despite the suffering. Now this person was also the wealthiest person that ever lived. Or up there with Shlomo Melech maybe. That although he was extremely pious, Shegamar was vadastic because he conquered himself, he serves God perfectly. Because it says not even with his pinky finger did he benefit from the world. This was a very wealthy person. And he lived well, but he didn't benefit from his good living. It wasn't the palaces, it was the Shika Achas. What did he suffer? The suffering of the very fact that we're in exile, the Shechinta Begalusa. The very fact that the divine presence is in exile. Why? Because there's Pirida Lavaves. There's Sinas Kinam rather. Baseless hatred. Because of that, we are cast into exile in this final, longest of all exiles. Galus Adaim. Kamei Mashiach Sheshmei Chivara Debe Rebbe. That he suffers like Mashiach, who's called the leper of the house of Rebbe. Mitzayra Shabes Rebbe. He was the leper because he suffered. And he suffered in such a way specifically that he changes his bandages one at a time as opposed to the way everyone else does it. They have to take off all their bandages. They look like a freaking mummy, okay? And they take all of it off and put it back on. Why? Because they're not going to be able to. So why is Mashiach different? Why he does one at a time, not the whole mummy deal in one shot? It's because maybe it's going to be that Hashem's finally going to give the green light to Mashiach. And therefore he has to be ready. Be ready, says the Rebbe. Mashiach, even though he's ultimate perfection, he suffers just the very fact that we're not at our Father's table. Which means, yeah, you're going to have all the luxuries of life and you'll be in that palace. Yes. But that's not what you live for. You live for the Neshika Achas, the one kiss, the one mitzvah, the one opportunity to bring oneness into that one mitzvah, that one good thought, that one granny walk across the street. Okay. I have so much more to go. It's ridiculous. I just got to see what your attention span is. But I like this form that, people walk in and out of the classroom. It's awesome. You see, hear what you want. Don't feel like you're going to get a fail grade if you're not in perfect attendance. Do what you can. The lion's den I throw myself into. Battlestance. Do you throw yourself in a lion's den, or are you thrown in it like Daniel in the lion's den, and he stands up like the king of the den? Battle stance. He wasn't afraid of the physical challenges in the world. Why? Because there's this striking of the valley cove, dawnlight, the darkest part in the darkest valley. Eventually, dawnlight might come at high noon, right? But eventually, it's illuminated too. There's some light that gets there, okay? Unless you live in Antarctica. So the Rebbe has a sikha that blows my mind, okay? And I haven't said that for a while, okay? But this one does. Why? Because I have proof for something that I felt for a long time. That there's a concept of changing the guard. Rabbi Gamliel was replaced, good morning, by Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. He was replaced in one day. The ownership of the leadership of the Jewish people changed while he was still alive from Gamliel. Why? I think it was because the policy he had in his base medrash. It was like you had lots of room you have lots of elbow room in his base medrash. Why? Because everybody left. He was living in the times of Mashiach, right? So in times of Mashiach, Averis Ruach Hatuma min haaretz, Hashem is going to cause the passive impurity to pass away from the world. Gone with the wind. Ruach Hatuma gone. Yavir min haaretz, it's going to pass away. It's going to have an Arvis. Mavir. Same letters, I think. So in his base medrash, you and I couldn't be there. Maybe you could, but I don't know. Maybe I couldn't. Well, hopefully I could. You'd have to be measured. You'd have to pass a certain litmus test. You have to be, with the roller coasters, you have to be so high. If you're not that tall, stand on your tippy toes. Wear your mother's high heels. You might be able to go on it. Don't do that. Unless your mother. Okay, done. Not be crazy. There's a litmus test. I forget what I was talking about. Good morning. Someone remind me. It was funny whatever I was saying. Okay. I was supposed to be speaking tonight. Bad news. Bad move. They asked me to speak to introduce a new campaign in the yeshiva for learning about Mashiach. Why? Because I'm going to tell you, even though the Rebbe calls learning about Mashiach, Torah in general, the straight path to bring Mashiach, I interpret that differently. No, I think that I'm a better interpretation than yours. Sorry. I'm not trying to say I don't remember about the test. I limited test of what? I forget what I was saying. Sorry. So the straight path, so what am I speaking about tonight? The straight path is to learn about Mashiach. I'm saying, you've learned enough about Mashiach. Start learning how to implement it. Do not think that our job now is strictly to say Gimel Prakim of Inyan Mashiach and Gola. I'm going to say like as much as I can, just another stick. That's what people get into. To get into the yeshiva, the litmus test. Thank you so much. It's very kind of you. If you want to get into the old school yeshiva of Rabbi Gamliel, who was living in the times of Mashiach, because he was that holy, that spiritual, the litmus test is Teichei Kabarai. Is your inside out? Are you wearing your shirt inside out? No. Is your heart as good as your black hat and gartel and surtuk? Is your beard, do you have a beard inside? Is your heart circumcised? How about that? Are you a pure, authentic person? Or is it just all show for you? The Rebbe says an amazing thing about this, okay? This old school is Beis Shammai. Why is it old school? Beis Shammai, we're going to paskin like Beis Shammai when Mashiach comes. Mashiach comes, we're going to paskin like Beis Shammai. You're going to let your menorah the other way, okay? Everything's going to be upside down when Mashiach comes. You're going to paskin like Beis Shammai. Okay, we'll look it up another time. So the school of Rabbi Gamliel reflects Beis Shammai, which is what? Stringency. So why is it in the future, and why does it represent stringency? Where are you going to need that when the Mashiach comes and you don't have evil inclination anymore? You're going to have stringencies. Well, what's the point? Why would you not let someone that's not authentic? Can't you just elevate that too? Do you have to make his life so miserable? Have so stringent litmus test? Such a tough test. What do you call it to get into university? I never did the SAT test or something. SATs. So the litmus test is you have to be authentic. You can't elevate the other guy. He can't come into your base medrash. When Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah took over, they added 700 benches, according to one opinion, or 400. 700 benches added to the base medrash, and it got warm there all of a sudden. It warmed up with the type of person that was rejected by Rabbi Gamliel, who represents Beis Shammai. You have to be Teika Kabbalah. You have to be like it's going to be in the future redemption, where it's not a problem being more stringent, because anyways, you're already refined. So it's not a big deal. But the big deal is when someone's not that refined and he's in a different world. Do you work on that person, or do you write him off? When Mashiach comes, everybody's going to be elevated. So you're not going to have to exclude anybody. So some people had that before. Rabbi Gamliel was such an example. Beis Shammai represented that idea. That's why we don't rule like him. We have to rule like Beis Hillel, by the new school, by the sensitive school, because we want to interact with those people that are not Teichik Kabarei, that are not genuine and authentic yet, the rebels of the world, rebelling against their fate. You can't help it. You have to serve somebody. It might be the Lord, right? You got to serve somebody. So we say everyone's going to do it. You have to reach out to those people. We need the Dinas of the world. We need to talk about things like, to what extent can you push sneas? Is it fair? Is it not appropriate for a woman shlucha, for example, to speak to people to try and draw them closer to a worthy, meaningful life? Is it worth it to do that? Or should you shut up and silence her? I believe I was fired from Beis Mashiach for this. Okay, I'm dramatizing it a bit because I'm a drama queen. The drama queen. I should call one talk a drama queen, because this is about the feminine voice. That's why I'm making it a life's mission to represent the Malchus. Okay, I saw an amazing shot. It said, "Shcheirani v'nava," black and beautiful. Words in Song of Songs. Black and beautiful is Teresh Shabal Peh. It's a black fire on white fire. That's Teresh Shabal, the black fire on white fire. But here the Rebbe says that Shcheirani v'nava is the black fire of the oral Torah. The rabbinic tradition, the Chachamim, the sages, is the black fire that in the darkness of the finite mind, the human being, the mortal concept of justice, that's the beauty that we contribute to the world, the authenticity in the world. So you have to be Teichei Kabara. You have to be a Rav, to be a paskining person. You have to have a genuine approach to understanding the Torah and have that authority. You better be pretty genuine. But do you draw the line and say, no, you can't come into the Beis Medrash? You're not perfect yet. You can't come in here. Beis Medrash is only for those people that are really messianic, because not messianic in, God forbid, in the Christian sense, but messianic in the sense that they live with Mashiach, the real idea, the real thing. Okay, so also I came up with a new title. What was it again? Your defense of Malchus. Yes. No, I think that the women have to rally behind this idea. Oh, so I was speaking about Shcharani V'Nava, the beauty, okay, the contribution of the Malchus Terapeh Shabal Peh. The Malchus is the mouth, the voice is specifically Malchus, the feminine sphera. It's represented by the Teresh Shabal Peh, the voice of the Rabbanim, the men usually who are the Rabbanim. They have to represent the women. Eishes Chayil Ateres Baila. The crown of the king, the Malchus is attributed to Man Malachim, I think it says, Rabbanan. Who are the kings? The Rabbanan. What's the Malchus? The feminine attribute? Shchara Venava, black and beautiful. The Teresh Shabal Peh, says the Rebbe. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, so here the Rebbe says, I got music playing in the background, that's annoying. Mashiach's going to be two things. He's going to be a Melech and a Rav. He's going to be a king and a Rav. He's going to be both. Okay, Sunday's a bit longer. Bear with me, guys. Okay. The turnstile. Didn't I write about turnstile? I didn't. I hit it. I wrote about Blueberry Hill, I think. Okay. I think I did. Oh, that's crazy, but I hit it. Because I found my thrill in Blueberry Hill, so you could just say Blueberry Hill and you know you were talking about it, and you could make a comment on the concept. Which brings me to today's Tanya, which is awesome. My favorite parak Yudalid, Teit Tzadik. Favorite parak. It talks about a Beinani. A Beinani could be, you could be a Beinani in one moment. There's the one moment, the oneness again. And I'm going to interpret it that way. You have to have the oneness. Bring the fact that there's a unity. Your tzitzis, maskirin yitzias mitzrayim leilais. The tzitzis have to do with going out of Mitzrayim, even though you don't wear them at night. We wear them at night. It's actually our minhag, so it's interesting. I'm jumping around now a bit too much, aren't I? But maskirin yitzias mitzrayim leilais means in the leilais, the Zayar says, Belelia begalusa. When it's talking about night, it's talking about exile. So when you're saying when you're saying the third paragraph of Shema, which is speaking about tzitzis, which is connecting with the etzem. Okay, we're not going to get into that; it's a bit too complicated right now. But when you're mentioning that at night, you're saying the night itself, the person she'ein teichik kabarei, the person that's inauthentic, seeming, or if you get to know him, the person that makes choices that you do question, that guy, you let him into the base medrash and bring light into the exile. So the Rebbe says, with the power of the Nasi, the Rebbe Yehuda Nasi, you have the power. Here also, Rebbe Azar ben Azariah, which speaks about Ezer Hashem should help him. The Rebbe speaks at some length about that you have God's help. Okay, I didn't get into Tanya 14th chapter yet. Okay, I'm circling like crazy. I should have written about a lion's den. I should have put about vultures. That's a bit of a negative image. My dad uses it in a positive way. He doesn't say the word vultures, but he says there's a lot of people circling. He means that we have a lot of talk about an issue. Circling. It's like a positive thing in a business sense. So I was speaking another achas. Okay, right. Okay, here it says. Okay, it doesn't actually use the word one, but it says b'chol eitz v'chol shah. Anyone could be a beinani. You could perfect yourself in one moment. It also says you could do. Oh, I'm thinking b'shayta chada b'riga chada. A bal tshuva you can be in one moment. It says chada. It's Aramaic for one. But here it says about the Perek Yudal, it starts with this idea that anyone can be a beinani at any moment, even though it means you've never done an avera. So how could that's like a contradiction? But it's resolved. Because the power is there in the moment. You could do tshuva in one moment. Shaita chada b'riga chada. In one moment, you could become a tzaddik gomer, according to Rambam. The Rebbe proves, talks about it a lot. Okay, I'm not going to go there. In every single area, you could be complete tzaddik in terms of behavior, but to be mayas bara, to despise evil, to hate the cheeseburger or whatever you're inclined to actually hate that, you don't have the power to do that. That's a gift from above. You can only do your part. And you in fact have to do your part because you took an oath before you came down into this world to hate tzaddik. You should be a tzaddik. So you have to do this. And what does the Rebbe say in Perek Yudalid, how you should do this? You have to think about Hayimayas Bara, that if the entire palace of gold and glory is not even worth a kiss of a Sefer Torah, it's inclined to say that, look what it says in Tanya, it becomes worms and refuse of some sort, all pleasures of this world. So to hate evil, that's something that only a tzaddik could do. You don't hate a cheeseburger. Who does that? So, but you still have to fulfill your oath that you took to be a tzaddik, and you have to to hate evil. You have to take time to contemplate how you're going to have a strategy to despise the cheeseburger of life, the obvious prohibition. And it gives advice on how to do that in the meditation, which I'm not going to talk about now. I've spoken about that last year, or somewhere a long time ago. Etc. All the pleasures of this world. The wise person sees what it amounts to. So he does a meditation that transforms this desire. The person that has to take this seriously, the oath he took to become a tzaddik, when he contemplates this, he also contemplates the flip side. I would spend more time on the flip side, the good aspect. The 80-20 rule applies here too, I would imagine. Or the 500 times more intense, the positive aspect of the world, the benevolence of the world than the negative. So if you're going to contemplate how you're eating 16 Big Macs a day is bad, the flip side of that is saying God is good, which is called taking pleasure and rejoicing in God. So you're putting on tefillin is a moment of ecstasy, not just like, okay, can I get onto the Super Bowl and watch my game or my popcorn or whatever? Okay, that's good too, but in the right context. So you're supposed to meditate about the greatness of God. Even though he's only going to do this in an imaginary way. He may never succeed and actually experience godliness. He might just be trying, and so whatever he's doing is just like his attempt to visualize it, but it's not necessarily authentic. It's not authentic. It wasn't allowed in the base of Medrash. But the Rebbe says, nevertheless, you still have to try and have this contemplation, how great God is and how much you should therefore love him. But even if you might have just fancies about this and never actually experience it, you do your part. And not only that, it's going to become a habit. It will be easy for you to do. So you'll focus on another, so you'll keep going higher and higher. And maybe you might actually succeed in despising the cheeseburger of life and really rejoicing in God. Maybe, in fact, you're going to be impregnated by the soul of someone who preceded you and accomplished a lot more than you did in the spiritual warrior sense, and therefore actually be merited to become a tzaddik, or just barasa tzaddikim. God creates people that are inclined to become towards becoming a tzaddik. I used to have an argument, I think, whether you can be born a tzaddik. Okay, I think there's an exception to the rule of Moshe Rabbeinu, but most people go through a stage where there's some kind of recognition, a realization of who they are, and it's a maturity that they develop, just like maturing that they could walk at a certain point, and they might have not before. So there's a maturity of soul also, and that's becoming this, realizing what the strength that you actually have to be genuine. Take a kabara, you're inclined towards it. That's barasa tzaddikim that it speaks about here. That the words from Eov, that God in fact created tzaddikim. What does it mean? Don't you have free choice? No, you created someone that's inclined. He's got a good character, and it's easy for him. So he just focuses on doing good stuff, and then God just illuminates him with who he is. So his true identity, it just shines forth. He never knew anything. Moshe Rabbeinu glowed from birth. That would be a cool... Okay, I'm not going to give crazy ideas. It's a crazy business entrepreneurial idea about... Okay, no, forget it. So when you throw yourself in the lion's den, are you throwing yourself in the lion's den, or are you throwing yourself into the battle stance that you have to take to face the challenges of your life? And that's the schus of the knowing that one kiss of a Sefer Torah, just one thing that you do, as long as you bring the oneness into that moment where you could be b'shait echad v'rig echad and become a tzaddik like that. It's not this big thing to be afraid of. Don't put it that way. We don't have time for that stupidity anymore. We have to, so I wanted to take about the paradigm shift. Okay, I'm going back to earlier. I was talking about this whole base medrash thing, about how only when Rabbi Gamliel ruled the scene, nobody can get in, basically. And when Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah took over, if even the person who was not Teika Kabbalah was allowed in, and Rabbi Gamliel stayed in the base medrash, he did not leave. Granting, the Rebbe says, authority to the new school of thought, which was sympathetic and compassionate, the Beis Hillel approach, represented by Elazar ben Azariah, who brought in 700 benches full of people. 700, the refining. We're in the 70th year from the Rebbe's leadership, which we're commemorating on Yud Shvat, coming up in a week or two. 70 years the Frierdiker Rebbe lived. 70 nations of the world that we're refining, where it's supposed to be a light into the 70 nations. The 70 years of man that Psalms describes. Yamim Behem, the Rebbe says, Behem Behema. When you're living the 70 years working on your Behem, Shivim Shana, 70 years, you're refining the 70 attributes that you're granted with. You have to conquer and have integrity even there, and be genuine, and be Teika Kabbalah in your inside, in your character. When you refine that, to work on those people too, that's the changing of the guard. And I have to read you the words that it says about it. It's amazing. Here it is. This is beautiful because it has to do with why I resigned from Beis Mashiach. Right, the 70 souls, and there's a few other things. 70 years at the Frierdiker Rebbe, which is awesome. There was 70 years from Tafshin Yud. Mashiach is supposed to last, and says in Gemara Sanhedrin. I think it's Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah or Ben Zema, one or the other, I can't remember, who says that it's going to be 70 years of Geula, of Yemais Mashiach rather, and then you're going to enter probably the Tchias Amesim, the dim sum world. But check out this footnote on page 62. Page 252, footnote 62. It says, as it says in the Siddur the Arizal that we referenced before, Ben Zema v'chamim hem aderech beis Shammai beis Hillel. Elazar ben Azariah was quoting Ben Zema, who taught that you say Yetzias Mitzrayim, you talk about illuminating the darkness of exile by Galusa. Zayir says the darkness of exile. You do that at night too. Why? Because all your days, even your nights, and all your days leading up, you have the power to illuminate the darkness of the world, the darkness within you, and to live like will be in Mashiach's times, and everyone's going to be tzaddikim now. You do that now. That's the Achishana we spoke about the other day. Well, look what it describes Beis Shammai, who was strict. This is what I was told, why you cannot write about things that have to do with sneas, because maybe people will interpret that to mean that they should do things that are inappropriate, which is odd to me and ironic, because here we're just trying to define the line. So is this a public topic that you could speak about such a thing, to define the line, to have the conversation? Or you don't even talk about it because there could be unikas akitainim, that the dark forces, people could use it as an excuse. The very fact that you're engaging in conversation about something, that they could use it for an inappropriate end. Well, but what's Beis Hillel different? So Beis Shammai says, in our world, you just don't get in. If you're going to bring any evil into my shtetl, you don't get in the front door. Beis Hillel says, no, 700 more benches are going to come in. So the Rebbe says it's 70 times on. Okay, we got the 700 benches, we can add this to the list. The merit, like the ultimate yichud, can only be performed in total darkness. Very interesting point. It says that it's not going to be any darkness when Mashiach comes. It's going to be the light is going to be illuminated. The night, like the day. So, Tzarech Iyun, and there's other things I could say, called Kala, lots of things that you could talk about that will require more discussion, how each aspect applies. Beis Hillel, here we say Ben Zema, okay, this idea of the night itself can shine, means that you have the power to refine and have a worthy, meaningful experience, even in the place that there is Yanikas HaChitzanim. It doesn't say where it's possible. Here it says, Yesh Yanikas HaChitzanim. Ikar Aveda Bizman Hazeh. And the Rebbe says, in this Mugedek HaSichel, in the Sichel that is edited by the Rebbe, he says, This is the main Aveda of our time. Now remember, this does not mean, of course, to eat cheeseburgers. It doesn't mean to look at things that are inappropriate. However, the Rebbe sent his army out on the front lines in Manhattan where there are billboards that other people would not go to. They would not go out of their way to be in such an environment. But these are the dinas of the world, the Yitzanis Lamayusa, to go out into the world and to care about another person and enter their domain, the lion's den, and conquer and make those lions your friends, like Daniel, who comes from Yehuda. And in the schus of Yehuda, okay, rewind for that one. Was not Ben Zema he who gazed and died? No. That's, no. No, I don't think so. There were Shimons, 2 Shimons, I think, or the Shimon ben. The name are escaping me right now. Rabbi Akiva, Acher. I can't remember the names right now. Sorry. Okay, so but this is a very radical message that the main avoid of our time is to affect a refinement even in a place that there is Yenikas Achitzainim, and therefore, yes, there's halacha. Yes, we paskin like Beis Hillel, but we paskin like Beis Hillel. We're more sensitive than otherwise we would be. We bring those 700 benches and have malamed schus on people that they can be taken in, and you can overpower your fear of them rubbing off negatively on you. No, you could be that soldier in the front line, even in Manhattan, and not look at the billboard because you don't care about it. Because you're focused on a goal, which is to bring light to the world. You can't do this if you don't have that mindset. Al derech achiluk ben zema shemazkirim yitzias b'tzayim b'leilais ki b'keikal lifol yitzias b'tzayim gam ba'es cheshech halayla acham yisviru leidet she'en kayach levari al leilas b'zman hazeh rak b'yimais Mashiach. So the new school of Reb Elazar ben Azariah was drawing down the power to bring Lahavi Yemais Mashiach, to bring the times of Mashiach, the power of the redemption, the power of the future reward, which is what Perak Yudel was speaking about, the reward to actually have the power of a tzaddik, to have Ibur ben Shama, and have all the power of someone who's truly righteous, make you light up like a neon sign, just with someone else's energy, someone else's soul being even granted to you. The power to do that is in the changing of the guard. In these times, you have the power to do all that. Okay, and we could go on and on. It's like 20 pages long about what that means. But I think probably that's enough for for anyone's attention span. Okay, maybe it was Ben Soma. Look it up, please, and let me know. I don't think it was. We'll see. We'll figure it out once we know the facts. Okay, so let me just think about, I don't want to lose any loose ends because I haven't been even putting notes. Sometimes I say, like, I forgot my whole point. My whole point was totally lost. Great. Sometimes I don't even get to the topic I was wanting to speak about. So yeah, I'm working on it. Okay, but that was the main point. I think I want to say that tonight to these Bachram. So what do I mean by new school? Because that could be very dangerous. Chas v'shalom, to do it wrong. So my point, as I hinted in the beginning, is not accumulate knowledge, implement knowledge. It's more powerful than derech yeshara of just learning more and more information. These are tools to conquer. That's what the Rebbe's Torah is. In the later years in particular, I'm talking about. Yes, you have to have the Rabban Gamliel idea of there is a core teaching that is true and permanent, and in fact, it's going to be ultimately that way when Mashiach comes, the Beis Shammais of the world. But right now, when we have this time of bridging, doing this incredible bridging of what the Rebbe describes as being the aleph into the Geula is Geula, bringing the aluf shel olam, bringing godliness into the exile of the world. That's Geula, redemption. It's the chiddush of the Rebbe's idea is that you can merge these two. That's the threshold of the redemption, is the ability to make this weave. It's fascinating weave. I describe that as another thing that I have bookmarked in that speaks about that it begins with the individual. That's the straightest path, the derech yeshara. What is the derech yeshara? To make it so, and it begins with the individual. So you have to have a redemption inside your mind, because it's going to begin with you. Yes, you need the Rabban Gamliels of the world, but their job is to give a green light for the Ben Zaymas, the Elazar Ben Azarias of the world, the Beis Hillels of the world, the sensitive, modern thinking, okay? They stay in the base of English to show their askama for it. They don't kick people out of the magazine and say, you can write, but not as an editor. You don't represent us anymore. Why? Because you dare to talk about things, and they literally said these words, that could be Yanikas Ha'achitzenim, that the dark force of the world might get the right idea to take it in an inappropriate way, what you're talking, just because you're talking about boundaries. The very fact that you should discuss where the line is inappropriate, because the boundary you might peek through. That's what everyone's concern is, right? To peek through. We don't trust anybody. Ain't taicha kabara. They don't come into my base medrash until you schlep 400 or 700 benches out of here. And prove yourself. So the Rebbe says this is through Torah, because Torah is the union of opposites, to bring it down from above to below and below to above. What does that mean? I hate when people just talk about that forever. It means being devoted to God and enjoy doing that, both at once. That's described by Torah. Torah, learning Torah. Okay? Limud HaTorah. That gives you the power of doing that, which means that you make this union of opposites, that the very idea of devotion is the same as pleasure. It becomes one and the same. When God's interests and your interests are completely aligned, that's the achas. The shika achas, the one kiss, is about the mingling of spirits, we've said in other places. So here we say, what does it mean? It means to take the power of Tehu, the transcendent energy of the world, and make it something that you take inside. That's Torah. The Torah is in my gizzard, okay, in my intestines, or whatever you call that. I don't know, I'm not a scientist. When you take the Torah there, it means it becomes, I digested the idea. When you digest the idea, you're living with it. So Torah has the power, in this case, in particular, Pnimis HaTorah, the Chassidus, Kabbalah, when you understand what you're learning, that's when it resonates with you, and that's when it illuminates and it animates you. And therefore, you could have the Nashika Achas. Nashikas Pihu. He kisses me with kisses of his mouth, meaning the inner secrets of the Torah. The honey beneath your tongue and the wine. Okay, this is what Torah describes it as. It's like the ultimate. So Torah has the power to make you have a personal redemption. It's a personal process. It will start with the individual. You influence others, and therefore you have a more prominent role in the redemption. The people that come later along, maybe no one started. Maybe there's not a single person that's actually walked into redemption yet. But I'm saying there has to be someone who's taken a step. And if you don't know somebody, look harder or look inside yourself. You be the one if you don't see anybody that's worthy of inspiring you. You be the one. Say, I'm going to be the first one to take that plunge into the lion's den and just go into a battlestance, or just like even better, just dive in there like you're diving into a warm pool with confidence. With that kind of confidence, because God's your bestie, He's guiding you on the battlefield, right? The lions become your friends. I mean, Daniel probably could could pet them. The lions, Daniel in the lion's den. So I want to be able to work with you or find someone else that's an expert, maybe I'm not, in how to implement these ideas. I can tell you what I do. I saw someone that's suffering with an illness today in the mikvah. I saw him. Okay? You can't tell that he's suffering, but I just know that he is. So I'm trying to think, because I'm like preparing my ideas and trying to be inspired. What am I supposed to learn from this? There's people that suffer. I thought of a few things. One thing I thought is that to whatever extent someone cannot live in a way that you can, you owe it to them to do it as best as you can, as good as you can, with them in mind. The midget on giant shoulders. We are described as the midget. So no, I'm not using a derogatory word inappropriately. I'm talking about myself. We're all a midget in some sense. There's something that someone could ridicule and say you're lacking. But that small person must have someone to look up to or realize that he's supported by. There's got to be a way that he's elevated. I think about someone who has had a quadruple amputation. I think about him every single day. I think about the four limbs. Why? Because it's about the unity of the Jews from four corners of the world. There are people in the world that are suffering, and how do you embrace them? How do you make them into our world? When I say our earth, our land, I think about God is in part of our. I have a source for such an idea, but it's not relevant now. So I include him. Our land, my bestie. We have this relationship with Hashem that's described as Ish ve'isha, the Rebbe says. Husband and wife. Ish ve'baila. From Song of Songs, the Rebbe proves this idea. I forgot where I was going with that. But this is the after talk anyways. I'm allowed to have no point whatsoever. I'll just say bye. Long enough. It's not. I could do this all day. Well, not all day. Whoa, that's a long one. I can't read that now. Oh, you're quoting it. Ben Azai. I said Ben Zayma. Oh, Ben Zayma. Okay, two Bens. I don't know why I thought it was Shimon something. Thank you. Ben Azai Ben Zayma. Very good. Thank you very much. It's a beautiful Agadita. It's awesome. Mind-blowing. Literally. I mean, that's what it's about, isn't it? Going too far. And not. Nichnas b'shalom v'yatza b'shalom. If you go in, you dive into it with peace, knowing that God's your Baal. He's going to take care of you. You know? You go in with that type of confidence. Oh, I was speaking about, right. How are we going to learn from those who are ill, chas v'shalom, and they should have refuah shlema? How can you help them? So I try and have them in mind and show sensitivity to them, and at the same time, be grateful for whatever health that I have that person might be lacking, chas v'shalom. And I feel like since all Jews are connected, in the sense that a midget might watch like basketball players play an incredible game and say, wow, and vicariously enjoy that aesthetic or be part of it. They do studies and the person who's watching the game, yeah, we won! Is the same energy and the same type of, and you put a graph on his brain, you'll see the spaghetti going in the same direction as the guy who actually scores the winning tackle, the winning, oh my goodness, I don't even know what it's called when you score a goal. What does it call in football? Touchdown. There we go. Touchdown. I got it. Okay. Okay, 10:30 is for sure late enough to person into the scene and show him love. But rather the person who suffered, I'm going to be your healer, God's telling you. I'm going to be your doctor and take you from the finite mortal, even not living, but with all those wounds that led up to that, and bring you health to the point of Tchias Amesim Dimsam. Rewind to see what that means. Okay, guys, thank you very much for making this a good vach. It has to be a good vach if we start with Torah. Right? Isn't that what it's all about? Inspiration to do good things with it and conquer the world. Have a great day, great week.